Hi. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the thesis statement. So take a minute for me, grab a pen, and I want you to jot down a couple things that come to mind when you think about thesis statements. Just what comes to mind? Does it look anything like this? These are actual student statements, things that they've written to me in reflections and various emails when it comes to thesis statements. Do any of these look familiar? I feel like the vast majority of students that I've had over the last few years, chances are you recognize some of yourself in some of the responses that just popped up on the screen. And I know that can be frustrating, and I know a lot of students really question whether we need this thesis statement. Is it super necessary? And I'm going to say it is, yes. Because an essay without a thesis is like, I'm going to let you watch the rest of this. Wow, that was crazy. As a writer, you really are like the driver of a bus. Your readers are counting on you to get them there safely. So in a lot of ways, your thesis really is like a good driver. It knows where to go, it steers your essay, and it drives with a purpose. So here when I say that it steers your essay, what I mean is that your thesis statement tells us what's the purpose of this. So what? Why are we doing this? What's your overall goal? Right? This is the control that the thesis statement establishes for you as a writer. It allows you to steer and know where you're going with your essay and to get it there safely. The thesis statement sets you up for that. So let's take a minute to practice. Told you we're going to do this step by step. So the first step is to scan through your essay and just list out the advice you give to your audience. Just go through and just write it down in a list, piece of paper. It doesn't have to be in a sentence. Just write it all down. Okay, good. So now we have a list of advice on our page. So now the first thing we're going to do is put that list together in an organized, formatted structure that allows your reader to clearly and concisely understand what you are trying to say. So whenever you have a list of items, you want to use what's called parallel structure. Its definition is when using items in a list, each item of that list should be the same part of speech used in the same way, right? So if we look at the first sentence here, Sandra told me that she loves pizza, tamales, and to go for sushi. So here we have a sentence that has a list. Now, the definition says each of these items should be the same part of speech used in the same way. So parts of speech, remember nouns, verbs, adjectives. We have pizza, which is a thing, which makes it a noun, right? We have tamales, which are things, which makes it a noun. But over here we have to go for sushi. To go is a verb. And because of that verb, we have a noun, and a verb. That verb is the odd man out. It is not parallel. So we want to try to make it parallel. So what we're going to do to make it parallel is to think of a way that we can rephrase the third piece of the list here in a way that we can make it a noun. And it just so happens that our noun is already here in sushi. So all we have to do is revise this sentence and say, Sandra told me that she loves pizza, tamales, and sushi. Noun, noun, noun. It's parallel. See if you can see what's going on with the second set of sentences. We see playing video games, eating junk food, and to go to the movies. We can see something in common in this verb has an ing. We also have another verb. It also has an ing. But this verb over here has the to go. So Since we already have two things alike, what we want to do is revise the one that's not alike to make it an ing verb. So we do that by writing going. Now it's your turn. Go back to your list and make the items on that list parallel. Make them match. If you have any questions about your parallel structure, you can always come to office hours or shoot me an email, and I will help clear that up. Okay, now that we have our advice and parallel structure, it's time to take a stand. This is the part of your thesis statement that establishes your argument. Often you can establish that argument by answering the question in the prompt, by using focused and direct language, and by taking an assertive stance. So the question in our prompt asked, what should students do to be more successful? Okay, so with that in mind, you want to answer that question as directly as possible. Part of being direct is being assertive. Your reader should do this. They must do this. She needs to. He has to. It is crucial or imperative or necessary that we follow this advice. Strong language, strong wording. It gives you credibility by showing that you have confidence in your position. The language on the right-hand side is considered weak language. It erodes your credibility because it suggests to your reader that you don't really have confidence in what you're arguing for. And if you don't have confidence in that, how could you ever be persuasive? Nobody will ever be swayed to your position if they don't think you believe it. So words like, in my opinion, I believe, I think, possibly, maybe, could be, can, whatever. Get rid of them all forever. Okay, now go back to that parallel list and use that assertive language from the previous slide to help guide your reader. Just directly kind of tell them what they should do. Okay, here's the last little bit of this presentation. Your reader now knows where to go. They know how to get there. And now it's time for you to tell them why they should make the journey in the first place. Excuse me. What is the purpose of your advice? Why should your reader listen to you? What's at stake? Go ahead and jot down that answer. Okay. So many of you probably wrote down for the purpose, maybe to get good grades, to make your parents proud, to be the first one in your family to graduate from college, or to get a 4.0, or to be accepted into the nursing program, right? We have so many different purposes for academic success. I want to know what your purpose for academic success is, really, right? Why should anybody use the advice that you've just given them? So now we should have some really cool inspirational reasoning for how to succeed in college. Now, either at the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence, go ahead and use one of these words. So that, for, because, therefore, in order to, or to, right? All words that work to establish the relationship of meaning or of reason to different items, right? So use one of these words to join your reason to your thesis statement. And again, it can come in the beginning of the statement or it can come at the end of the statement. It's completely up to you. Okay, so that's really all I have on this presentation. At this point in time, we should all have a pretty solid thesis statement. If you'd like to get some feedback on that thesis statement, feel free to post it in any